How many drugs would you assume have been approved for marketing by the FDA? 100? 1,000? 5,000? If you said 10,000, you'd only be halfway there. 20,000 drugs are now available by prescription in the United States, and that doesn't even come close to the over-the-counter numbers. By any metric, more drugs are prescribed in America than in any other country in the world. And year after year, America ranks dead last in most measures of wellness among developed countries. Now, something's wrong here, you think? It's funny, for some reason, especially when I'm out in nature, I get to thinking about the number of people who seem just so uninterested, so incurious about the basic foundations of wellness, the foundations of simply staying healthy. And believe me, loading up on drugs is not making anybody healthy. So your doctor and big pharma have you terrified into believing your cholesterol is too high, especially the LDL fraction, low density lipoprotein. You know, you've been told you're a walking time bomb, and we're going to immediately have to get you drugging that number down. So you may be taking a statin drug right now to jam that cholesterol number down and save your life. If not you, surely many of your friends and family are. Statins are among the world's most prescribed drugs, with over 200 million taking them worldwide. And total statin sales have reached $1 trillion. Man, these things must be great. They must be saving millions of lives per year, right? Well, not so much. So let's look at a study recently published in JAMA, the Journal of the American Medical Association. It's a meta-analysis of 21 clinical studies involving about 140,000 test subjects. And it was studying the efficacy of statin drugs on mortality and cardiovascular disease outcomes. And of course, I'll link this and other studies in the description. So if you're a dedicated statin user, please take a seat for these numbers. The absolute reduction of risk for heart attack, 1.3%. The risk reduction for all-cause mortality, 0.8%, 0.8%. And for stroke, 0.4% for statin users. In other words, for all the hype, for all the scare tactics, for all the dire warnings of doom, if you don't immediately start drugging these values as low as possible, turns out absolute risk reduction is almost zero. 0.4% fewer strokes? What? I promise that you can improve these cardiovascular outcomes tenfold by adopting a diet and lifestyle that reduces inflammatory load on your system and supplies the body with the necessary nutrients to build strong and healthy cells. On the other hand, there are real risks to using these statin drugs. Example 1, 2012 report, Archives of Internal Medicine, Journal of the American Medical Association. Postmenopausal women using statin drugs to lower their cholesterol had a 48% increased risk to developing diabetes. And example 2 is out of Finland in 2015. It was a 6-year follow-up study of 8,500 men aged 45 to 73 statin users. Well, the researchers calculated a 46% increase risk to type 2 diabetes in that group. Okay, next question. Well, cholesterol is the enemy though, right? Answer is that it is not. Cholesterol is not a bad thing. It's an absolutely critical chemical in human physiology, and for various reasons, some innocent, some not so much, it's gotten a really bad rap over the last 30, 40, 50 years. The myth that driving cholesterol down with drugs will magically reduce your risk to cardiovascular events, heart attack, stroke, has been absolutely debunked by multiple studies over the last 20 years. Yet, cholesterol-lowering drugs are among the most prescribed drugs in the world. I'm going to leave you to ponder the possible reasons for that. Cholesterol is at most a very, very minor player in coronary artery disease. It is not the villain that big pharma and big medicine has made it out to be. So what is the villain then? We've talked about it before many times: systemic inflammation. Look, our healthcare model is a sickness-centered model, not a wellness-centered model. Unfortunately, Western medicine focuses on treating illness rather than encouraging and promoting the development of vibrant health. And I haven't even mentioned statin-associated cognitive dysfunction and muscle injury. But anyway, so you're seeking vibrant health, awesome. First step taken. But your head is swimming, right? Keto, intermittent fasting, gluten-free. It's enough to tie your brain in knots, isn't it? Well, clearly you appreciate that for wellness, the Western medicine sickness care model is a catastrophe. So look, you're already one step in the right direction. In my applied kinesiology chiropractic practice, diet and lifestyle is a top priority. And I figure in 37 years of practice, I must have made a couple of useful observations by now. So where do we start then? Well, let me most humbly offer just a few thoughts. Number one, the overarching thought that should fuel all your efforts here is that inflammation, chronic low-grade inflammation on the system, is the number one underlying cause of almost all disease. Doesn't matter what, heart disease, cancer, stroke, diabetes, Alzheimer's, they're all downstream effects of systemic inflammatory stress on the body. Ergo, reducing inflammatory load on the body is crucial to getting and staying healthy, right? Right. Number two, by and large, drug interventions don't heal. They manage issues related to this chronic inflammatory stress on the system. They block physiological processes. Think about it. Antacids, antidepressants, anti-cholesterol drugs, anti-inflammatories, on it goes. As the great Dr. Majid Ali says, nutrients, not drugs, heal tissues. Number three, the biggest bang for your buck approach to jumpstart your wellness journey, changing the fuel which your body uses to run its motor. It's nutrition, 100%. I've literally seen it thousands of times with patients. Look, you wouldn't put 87 octane in your Corvette ZR1, would you? Well, then why would you hit McDonald's drive-thru 3 times a week for dinner? Exercise, sleep, fresh air, all that, huge. But today we're talking nutrition. I promise you can feel better within days to weeks by making some basic changes in your diet and supplementing routine. Okay, inflammatory load is the bad guy. What do? Well, we deep six the number one inflammatory triggers in our diets: sugar and wheat gluten. The American diet is built around this junk. It's difficult, I get it, but once you start to experience some amazing changes very early on, it'll be a lot easier to keep that junk out of your diet and keep that inflammatory load moving in the right direction. I promise if you did nothing else, you would experience great changes pretty quickly with this one step, including decreased stomach bloat, clearer thinking, dropping water weight, dropping pounds. I've literally seen patients drop 10 pounds in a month by doing nothing more than removing gluten and sugar from their diets. Next, let's increase our healthy fats. Maybe start by adding an extra tablespoon of olive oil or coconut oil or good clean fish oil into your diet every day. These are the basic building blocks of anti-inflammatory hormones your body uses. And just as importantly, let's cut out inflammatory omega-6 oils, vegetable oils including canola, corn, soybean. They're junk, get them out, they're pro-inflammatory. And of course, let's make sure we get good quality protein in our diets, the stuff that we make muscle and enzymes from. Cold water fish, sardines, salmon, turkey, grass-fed beef, eggs that are from free-range chickens, really important. And finally, most of us should be using some nutrient-dense supplementation, to sort of fill in some of the holes in our dietary foundations. So that includes support of the microbiome with quality probiotics. You've heard of them, Acidophilus bifidus, Bulgaricum, and others. As for me, I don't use a multivitamin. I rotate around a range of healthful, functional mushrooms. There are thousands of peer-reviewed studies on health-promoting effects of medicinal mushrooms, aka functional mushrooms. You can search them at National Library of Medicine's website, pubmed.gov. So, I've tested a dozen sources over the years. I've settled finally on this brand, Real Mushrooms, from my patients and me. Great company, superior products, wide range of functional mushrooms, super friendly folks, and really personal customer service. In the end, it was really a simple choice for me. You can throw down some capsules every day, but remember, digestion starts in the mouth, and I want to give my taste receptors a heads up on what's coming down the pipe. I use my morning coffee as an awesome delivery system to give my brain a great start on the day. I open a random capsule of Real Mushrooms into the cup, toss in some healthful fats, a quality MCT oil, and some grass-fed butter. And with this, we have a supercharged version of Dave Asprey's already powerful bulletproof coffee. So with that, I've left links in the description about all this stuff, including to the Real Mushrooms site. Make it a vibrant day. See you in the next one. Dr. J.